All right, and we're going to do a special episode here. We've got Carl Mitchell here joining us today. He's a new student who's gotten a couple tapes in, and he was curious how we identified whether it was a good tape, a bad tape, from a source or from a joker broker, or how to dive into and find some deals they can make some offers on instead of and avoiding the duds. Right, Carl?
Yep, that's right.
So, where are you? Where's home for you? Tell me about your adventures as a real estate investor and how did you come to this crazy note side first?
Okay. Well, home is actually I'm in Hammond, Indiana, right outside of Chicago, and I first started learning about real estate back in 2019. I started reading books, and I took my first class in 2021, and I was kind of learning some different strategies, wholesaling, as well as subject to deals. And I started marketing. Then I kind of drifted off into commercial, and I was actually sending out a lot of letters, and it was like kind of costly. And I don't know, finally, I just ended up. I started seeing people talk about notes, and I'm like, let me, kind of see what this is about. And now I'm like, I'm all in right now. No more shiny objects. Like you said before, I think I saw in one of your videos, you're like, you got to commit. You can't just keep chasing shiny objects. So I'm here and I'm committed.
Well, I'll tell you this, I got to give you credit. You're taking action. We last week we had a conference call with a lender. Um, have you heard anything back from them since you sent over the NDA yet?
No, I haven't. I was thinking about sending a follow up. I wanted to get your take on that as well.
Yeah, I mean they were good to go. I mean, I would just definitely shoot them a follow up on it. Hey, did the NDA work? Because remember they said they were going to note loan committee this week, to
Oh,
determine what they were looking to sell and stuff like that. But they had some, individual asks as we talked about, and we had a good little conversation with them. And they had never sent over an NDA, and they asked if we had one that we used. And so I sent it to Carl, and Carl's forwarding over to make sure they're good with it. And they're probably having their legal tweak it up, changing two words, and charge them $250 an hour to do that. You know what I mean?
right,
So,
right. Yeah.
but you taking action. So you called me up, or you shoot me an email yesterday or the day before, say, hey, I got two tapes in from a couple sources. And how did you acquire those tapes? Just so those that are listening may be able to learn. Was this through LinkedIn, Facebook, you know, social media? Did you dial for dollars? Did you jump on? How'd you find these sources without giving away any names? Because we don't want to violate any names you got, right?
Right, right, right. Well, I just, I started taking your advice, and I changed up my LinkedIn and made it professional, made it kind of look noteworthy.
Yeah.
And then one of the contacts that accepted my invitation. First I connected with you. I wasn't able to connect with you, but I had to follow you, and then you were able to connect with me. And then from there it was like second. I forgot how you put it, but I was like second connection or something. So I was able to connect with a lot of people, and one of the connections reached out to me. He's like, do I have any notes for sale? And I'm like, well, not at the present time, but if I have something, I'll let you know. And then I said, and then that goes both. I forgot how I put it, but I'm like, do you have anything? And I wasn't expecting. And he shot me. I gave him my email. He shot me like two or three notes right away.
Right. Right. That's good. I mean, it's always good. Marketing, yes. Connecting on LinkedIn now gives you 30,000 plus second degree connections, which helps prime the
Uh,
proverbial pump for you to connect with notes folks. So let's dive into it. Because you'd mean like, hey, I got two tapes. That now the second tape we're not going to dive into. That you're still waiting to hear back pricing. I don't want to share any of that stuff because I think that's from a potential legitimate source on some performing and non-performing stuff. But the one that we want to go through is show you, give you some signs because you're not the only one seeing stuff, and it comes from, I hate to say it, but it came from a guy who's trying to make something happen, but unfortunately is kind of watering down the message and actually looking like a joker broker. We don't want you guys to be a joker broker out there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we don't want you to do that. So let me pull up that tape here. I thought I just had the dang thing up. Let me pull. I got it. Must be in my email still. Hang on here. Sorry about that. But there was a couple signs right off the bat that showed me because whenever I get a tape in, first and foremost, Carl, I look for like my big, the states that I really love to buy in. I'm in Texas, so if I can see anything in Texas, okay, I'll look at that. I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, which is down on the coast. So if I see anything in Corpus, I'm like, oh, hey, that's my old backyard. You know what I mean? Old stomping grounds, which I don't usually see a lot of stuff down there. Okay.
Mhm.
But when I do, I'm like, oh, wait a second, let's take a look at it. And then I started recognizing, I almost immediately recognized the two addresses that were showed Corpus Christi on this tape that you got. And I was, wait a second, I've seen it before. And then I looked at the, um, come on, it should be open. Not shouldn't be open and protected. Sorry, guys. Let's try it one more time. And I was like, wait, I started recognizing this tape because I was like, oh, wait, this does look familiar. And then what's sad is what you have happened quite a bit of time. Sometimes Joker brokers won't even change the column headers. They won't change names on it. And so I was like, oh, wait a second. I recognize this tape because it's set up like Paper Stack is set up. So let me share this with you guys. So, and this is a thing that, look, there are some deals on Paper Stack you can take a look at. There's some stuff, notes you can take up, maybe not deals. But the thing I looked at, okay, so can you see my screen now, Carl?
Yeah, it's black. No, it's like
do you see a spreadsheet now?
oh yeah, now I see it. Yep.
Okay. So let me blow this up a little bit. So he sent over this list of notes to you. It's 43 notes, right? Non-performing, a couple performer. And I immediately see the list price over here. Okay. And I see a list price of anywhere from $1,000 down to 1.2 million, right? Yeah. And the thing that the first flag was this is a negotiation type, flexible, firm or flexible. Well, the only place I get that is from Paper Stack. They're the only ones that put firm or flexible on their tape. It's performing or non-performing. The contract for deeds or the mortgages, okay, unpaid balance, interest rates, yield. There's another dead giveaway. Is they're the only place that gives a yield aspect of things because based on the offer price, they figured on payment, that's what they figure out. They're also the only ones that really put interest-only loans on that, values, ITB, investment to balance. That's not usually on another bank tape. ITV, LTV, original date, payoff, payments remaining, legal status, okay, occupancy, the address of the property, type zip it. And then they get over here to hardest hit funds. This is the thing that they need to remove from their freaking column because hardest hit funds don't exist anymore. All right. But they still have it on their website to tell you if it's our hardest hit funds. Because some people were taking a class years ago. Oh, I'm just going to buy in hardest hit funds because I can get that extra gravy if I get it from the state. Well, the hardest hit funds have been gone for years. Okay. So those were the comp right off the bat. I was like, oh, wait a second, this looks bad. And then I reached out to you. I said, now, what did they want for the, what was the pricing? And you told me what the seller wanted immediately for this thing. He wanted to sell them all, right? It was an all or nothing bid, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he specifically said all or nothing, but I know he wanted to sell them, sell
as a
all
bulk,
of them.
sell them all, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I see it anywhere from $1,000 to 1.2 million, I know that's not accurate. Okay, and so you didn't know, brand new guy from this guy, you didn't know if this guy he owned him or he didn't own him, right?
Right.
So the first thing I did, here's a little secret for note investors out there. Okay. Yes, if you go and look at an address, it's going to tell you who the property owner is of that property, right? And a mortgage isn't going to tell you who the lender is. Now, if we're buying notes, which we are, you would have to go to the deed search or the county recorder to look everything. But a contract for deed, how that is titled is the lender is still the property owner based on the contract for deed. So all I did is I went to two addresses of the contract for deeds and looked to see on the assessor's website who was the owner. And it popped up two different owner names, which may not be different if you're a fund, but completely two different states and two different addresses. So that told me immediately right off the bat that A, this is not one seller, and B, it's not an all or nothing type of bid. Okay. Because I recognized one of the names, and when I recognized the names, I was like, oh, they sell a bunch of junk because they buy these crappy properties. They hope to owner finance them, and they sell them. So what I also immediately did to Carl is I went over to PaperStack because I thought this, and I looked, and two of the addresses on this tape were on there, but a lot of these addresses were no longer for sale on PaperStack. Okay. Now, does that mean they've been sold? Maybe, maybe not. I just recognized when I went to some of these, especially some of the Michigan ones, like the 15104 Ardmore Street in Detroit, Michigan. I've recognized that one because I've looked at that. No, 16092 Manning Street in Detroit, Michigan. And I have the numbers because I looked at those a few months back. So
Okay.
one thing that you want to do is save all the tapes you get in a file folder, all right, on your computer, so that you can just go in, copy, paste this address into the search, into that file folder, and to pull up every tape that that address is on. Okay. So that was one thing. This popped up from an address from months ago when I downloaded what was available for sale on a PaperStack tape. Okay. All right. Now, the thing is that concerns me is also, too, is you have a mixture of land loans mixed in there, which has these addresses and stuff like that. There's no guarantee that your guy has direct access to actually sell these, okay, as far as being the true broker to move these. Now, here's another little thing you look at. If you hit File and you go to Info, can you still see my screen and see what pops up here?
Yep.
There's a different name that pops up as the author of this list. Do you see that? It says Brent Hawes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this was it was created 8/28/2025. This is just a few days ago, 5-6 days ago. But Brent is not the guy that you got the list from. Am I correct?
Correct.
So now your guy is now second in line behind this guy named Brent.
Mm.
So
So
now,
is that like daisy chain or
yes,
something?
sir. Big ding, ding, ding. You get the answer correct for the day.
Okay.
So the reason I'm not, first of all and foremost, I'm not bashing on you for a second because you just don't know what you don't know. Now you've learned something. Now how to look at this stuff. Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
the thing to look at, and part of the reason we're getting on here is, okay, how can I take a look at some of these deals to potentially make offers on, right? How, if I don't need to buy all 40, 42 or 43 of them, you can make some individual ones, right? Individual offers. Okay. So the question
Okay.
I have is, this is more for you. And this is a question that I ask everybody when they get their first tape in, because it can be overwhelming. I got 40 potential deals here, right? 40 opportunities. What do you want to get out of the note investing? What attracted you as a note investor? Is it cash flow? Are you wanting to acquire real estate in your area in Indiana? Are you just looking to get cash flow on deals that you can have other people fund? What's kind of your game plan, and what do you foresee as your goals?
Yeah, I mean, cash flow, foreclose. I know you said when you first started off, you were heavy into the foreclosure, and then you switched, you realized that you could have made more money the other way. So, I'm trying to learn from other people's mistakes. So yeah, I mean, I guess cash flow now, and then
So,
um
so maybe a combination of cash flow and bigger checks on the foreclosure side, right?
right. Or like I think, get them reperforming, right? After
Yeah.
like 12 months or something, and then you can sell them for like what, 85 cents on the dollar or something.
Yeah, it just varies on the yield and stuff like that. But yeah, you could basically buy it non-performing at a bigger discount and then turn around and sell them after they've made on-time payments through a third-party servicer for 12 months and get them. If you get them at 50, sell them at 80, 85, depending on what that fund is looking for, as far as what they want to see off the cash flow. But most of these are going to have a pretty decent interest rate on them that it would work for that. So
Oh,
the important thing, though, is if you don't now, how much rehabs do you want to do? Like heavy rehabs? You
none.
can't you can't hear him shaking his head no fast enough, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So what we need to do is to take a look at these things. Is obviously focus on notes that are occupied. It can be non-performing or performing, but occupied assets, all right, that are going to be a pretty good yield for it. And most of these are non-performing. Okay. And then we also want to look at stuff that the P&I payments are going to be well enough along with the balances. They're not going to be too big and too small. They're going to be like the Goldilocks, just right in the middle somewhere there. Okay. So let's do that first. Let's get rid of let's just go over here because they should have the occupancy. That was one of the things I saw first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see, let's get rid of all the vacant ones. Okay, so we're just going to select all the vacant ones and delete them off because we can always go back and reopen the tape up, right? Okay.
Right.
So if they're vacant, you're probably not going to get Jimmy and Sue borrower back to the table to start paying on time again, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They've just moved out. You don't want to do foreclosures on those. Okay, so now that leaves us, if we go back here to the occupancy, occupied, that just shrink it down to 17 then at that point. Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right, so now since we got rid of the occupancy, let's go to the states that are available here and see which ones we want to get rid of. Well, we don't want, we're going to hit select all to eliminate them. So we're going to get rid of New York. Let's get rid of
Illinois, right?
let's get rid of the communist state of California. Maryland requires a new law, so we probably want to just put that in there, get rid of it. And then let's just click on the Illinois one and see what pops up there. So where's it in Illinois? Rock Island. Oh, I looked at that one. It's a junk piece of property because I've had stuff in Rock Island. San Diego, California. That's great, but the balance on it is just going to be a little too big. Maybe not. 68,000 on that. We might look at that. We'll look at the California one. Oh, property value is 900. Origination date, total payoff is 104. 333. We might leave that one in there just for the heck of it, because a lot of folks like San Diego. Who doesn't like San Diego? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You ever made it out there before to San Diego?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get rid of, okay, so we're gonna keep these, but we're gonna get rid of San Diego there. Now, yeah, we're gonna get rid of the rest. Now, if you like stuff in Syracuse, New York, by all means, go ahead. But we don't want to waste our time there. Okay, so now we got San Diego in there. Okay, now let's go to pull up the rest. Now let's look at Alabama. Alabama has a weird one-year redemption period. If it's a note, if it's a contract for deed, you can evict, which makes it faster than waiting a full year. So let's see, is this a mortgage? It is a deed of trust. That means it's going to take a while to foreclose. Oh, it's a second. We don't want second lien positions anyway. So let's get rid of second liens, delete those. All right, so now go back over here to the address, states. Select all. All right, so that leaves us.
Now,
yeah.
For the, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I might have heard you mention that you've kept a second before, but that was when you had the lien on the same property. You had the first for the same property, and that was when you decided to take the second as well. Is that like an exception?
That's correct. I only buy a second behind my first, usually for the most part, especially right now with market values dropping in a lot of areas or foreclosures increasing. Being in a second position behind a non-performing first is literally like putting a gun to your head and playing Russian roulette with your money. You don't want to do that. Okay. So now let's look over here now at the month, well, this is the thing that I dislike about what PaperStack does, is they don't double check some of their stuff. So like this guy, he's got a commercial loan, but it's 0 P&I payment, but then he says his total monthly loan payment is 903. Well, does that include taxes and insurance and escrow, which we can't, if it includes all four of them, principal, interest, tax, and insurance, that's not an accurate payment for us to bid off of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We just need to look at P&I. So for that reason, we're just going to go ahead and delete this one out of St. Cloud, this commercial property. Okay. So now we can look at something here. Now here's another one. This one is in the P&I payments. This one is $82.96. That's hard to make any money on. So we're going to delete that one off.
So what would be the minimum that we would be looking for?
If you're using your own money, Carl, probably what do you want to see as far as monthly cash flow? What's your cut that makes it worth your while?
I mean, ideally, I would like $1,000, you know,
right? But ideally, but let's just be honest about it. What if you own rental prop?
What, 500 maybe, or
500 would not be bad, because especially now, are you going to be using your own money or are you using other people's money?
Oh no, I was thinking about other people's money.
Okay. So then, yeah, 500 is probably what you roughly want to shoot for. So you can give them probably 250 and you're bringing in 250 yourself. Okay.
Yeah, if it's my own money, I think 250 would probably be the
Well,
least.
yeah, at least that would be the bare minimum because if you have it with a servicing company, it's going to cost you $90 a month just alone for that. Um,
Mm.
that's up to you and stuff like that. So, but anyway, but some of these now we all at 2300, 845, 409, 922, 2400. This one in Corpus Christi, Texas. Let's see where this is located. This is Delta Drive, 1022 Delta Delta. Can I help you? Help you. Let's look and see what that one looks like just for the heck of it, real fast. And
How's that neighborhood?
I don't know. Corpus has
Oh,
got a couple. I grew up down here. That doesn't mean I was buying a lot down there. So there are some good areas of Corpus, and then there are, like any other places, some rough areas of Corpus.
okay.
But we're not necessarily going to worry about that. It's not a bad area. It's not too far from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Oh, there we go. So let's resume our share. All right, can you see my screen now? Does it show a picture of a property?
No, I still see the spreadsheet. Oh wait, there it goes. Yeah.
Okay. So the property we're looking for is the big overgrown tree here in front.
Go figure, right?
Right. And this is a picture from January of 2022. But there are cars out in front of it. So maybe it is occupied. I mean, it's not so bad. Let's go back to the spreadsheet and see what the spreadsheet said, if it was occupied or vacant. All right, going back. All right, we are back at the spreadsheet. All right, so it's a foreclosure. They've got 110 payments remaining. Total payoff is 290. They originated this October of last year. So this was a short-term loan. Property value is 370, 290. They want 290 for it. They want us to pay full value on that. All right. They're flexible on pricing. I'm sure they say owner financed it. Original balance 277. They want us to pay full value. Well, we're not going to pay full value for that. Because even if it is worth what they say that it was worth 370, there's no room to make if it goes to foreclosure auction and you only get paid the 290, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So we're going to go and take that one off. Yeah, they say flexible. So, if 290 is the payoff, then you could maybe offer 80 cents on the dollar of that, which would be like 240. Because it's going to go to foreclosure and then you get paid the 290. So if you offer 240, that's 50K at the foreclosure auction, right? And in Texas, since it's a fast foreclosure, that should be done in the next 60 days. So that might be something to think about it. So what I'm going to do on here is let's change this to say just 240.
Okay.
They said flexible. We're going to put 240 on it, and I'm going to highlight that in green, knowing that we made an offer at that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So list price 44.45. Okay. So let's do this. Let's insert a column in here, and then we're going to say percentage of UPB. So we're going to take the list price 293 and divide that by what the UPB is. And this company appears smoking crack as well. They want full value. That doesn't make any sense. All right. So same thing on this one. Where is this one located? Non-performing mortgage at 9% interest rate. Value's 475. Total payoff's 293. It's in foreclosure. There's still 322 payments. It's in Wentzville, Missouri. Now, Missouri is in like a 90-day foreclosure. I don't know where Wentzville is. Have you ever heard of that place?
No, never.
Never. Yeah, me neither. So we want to avoid rural areas, but let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what it looks like just for the heck of it. Okay. What we've got here. Kind of rural, so probably no drive-by photos, but it looks like it's in a okay. Well, is it a barn, a house, or is it a what is it?
Yeah.
Can we drop our little guy down here anywhere? Oh, we can drop him here. Let's see if we can see what that is. Yeah, that's not worth pursuing either. Too rural. All right, so we're gonna go back to the other one. Okay, so we're just gonna get rid of that. All right, so let's look at this one. 1810 Calumet Drive in Toledo, Ohio. Okay, now what do they want for this one? This is what's confusing because I actually have intimate knowledge of this one because I actually thought it was a pretty decent deal at 45. Okay. And it's this one is technically not available for sale because I technically have it under due diligence contract right now. Okay. All right. So this was owner finance for 109. The borrower brought $2,000 to the table and they haven't paid a single price. Now they say when I first put it under contract, it was saying as it was performing. Okay. Well, it's non-performing. They've adjusted. It's not performing, but they only want 44,700 for it. The UPB is 106. They say the value is 56. I have a different BPO with a higher BPO number on this. But the thing about this one is the borrower's never paid on time in 6 months since it was originated. And they just gave a forbearance agreement to the borrower. Means they just gave them another 90 days, really, to get back on track. Well, I can't start the foreclosure process now because you gave them a forbearance agreement. I can't go use the 6 months that they're behind to start the process. So I'm starting back at zero again. Yes, $44,000 on a $106,000 note is not bad, but if the value is only 56, that's not a good yield. You're not a good percentage there, right? And
so
since
they're underwater then, right?
No, they're above water. There's equity. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You're correct. They are underwater. They owe more than the property's worth on a newly originated note.
Okay.
So that tells me it's not really a Dodd-Frank compliant note. They didn't run it through an RMLO. Okay. The borrower couldn't afford the note and they still haven't been able to afford the note. So I'm going to have to foreclose on this. And that's not necessarily something I want to do. Now, the thing about it's nice if we look at the property address, if we go actually look at the photos that were online, somebody did a nice rehab of the property. Okay. But it just there's too many issues behind it. You know what I mean? If you're going to buy the note and try to get them back on track, it makes a good yield. But unfortunately, this borrower's never been able to afford the monthly payment, hasn't made a single payment on time. The only thing the borrower has into it is $2,000 in what they paid down. Okay. So if you click on this photo, this is like the glamour shots photo of it, the Cinemax version of this property. It looks real sexy from there, don't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
They did a really great job to it, lawn mowed. It looks really nice, the floors. The property, it was staged really nice. Look at that. Unfortunately, if the borrower's been out of work and not made a single payment, do I think they're keeping up with the condition of the property? What do you think, Carl? Nope.
Fat chance.
Fat chance, exactly. So I'm basically would be paying $44,000 for a $60,000 asset. That's too high. It just doesn't make sense because it's too skinny a deal. If you have to go through the foreclosure process there in Ohio, you know what I mean? Ohio's gonna take you 9 months. So, usually now on that, could you do a deed and loan, offer the borrower $2,000 to move out? Yeah, but then you're still only owning an asset that's worth about 60 that you're in at 44. There's not a lot of room there. You know what I mean?
And especially if has to be rehabbed and all that,
Yeah, because you're gonna have to clean it out. Even if the borrower, you're gonna have to go in and do some cleaning to it. So I would just go ahead and delete that one because I'm pretty familiar with that one. And that was another sign too Oh, hey, this is not a legitimate list because it's an older list because I've had that under contract for about 3 weeks now. Okay.
Mm,
Okay. All right. So then let's go back over here. We looked at this one in Delta. We don't know on that one. Um, let's look at this one. So there's 306. This one's occupied. They're in foreclosure. It could be a fast foreclosure. Total payoff is 66. They want property value 67, 68. They want 45, but they're flexible. Okay. 96 cents on the dollar of UPB. Doesn't make sense. So maybe you make an offer, let's just say 47 is UPB. So let's say 30,000. Okay. So if you make an offer at 30,000, let's go over look at their payments because they got a bunch of payments left. P&I payments 409. Let's insert a column here. And we're just going to say 12 months P&I is equal to that divided by times 12 months. It's 49.18. And our rough yield, I'm just going to say estimated module. If we allow them to start moving in, start paying on time again. So you take the 49.18, divide what you think your offer would be, 30,000. And that yield is about a 16% yield. Okay. That's not so bad. You bring in somebody who's got money at 8%, you're giving them 8% and you're making 8% plus the upside. Okay. They might not be so bad. Let's run these formulas down here. Do the same thing there. And I'm just dragging it down here. And let's take a look at these. 16%, 22%. Okay. 22%. Where's this one? It's in Dayton, Ohio. It's occupied. They've not started the legal process on it. Total payoff is 115. Value's only 72. So they're upside down again with owner financing. They want you to pay 49 at 43. That might not be a bad deal because you're only paying 50 for a 72. Let's see what the property looks like, shall we? This one actually might make sense for you. 1041 Walton in Dayton, Ohio. Copy paste. Let's go on over to the spreadsheet or go over to Google and look what the property looks like. And here you go. 1041 Walton Avenue. This is a July of this year photo.
Hmm.
Doesn't look too bad, huh?
No, not bad at all.
Yeah. It's got a back garage back here. Huh. That doesn't look bad at all. Now, if I were you, if you wanted to raise, I would take a picture like from here, and this is the picture I would use to kind of advertise that I'm looking to try to raise some money. Of course, taking off the address and just saying, hey, I've got a note I'm working on. But this is from 2 years ago, July 2023, but the in front photo is from July of this year. There's the address. We verified it's that. Okay. Let's go back here to our spreadsheet then. All right, so total payoff, is it performing or non-performing? This is non-performing. Okay, so let's see. When's the next date due on this one? So I'm scrolling over trying to find payment date. So it was originated in, okay, here's another one, November of last year. When's the next due? So they're 8 months behind, maybe. So they made a payment up till March. The next due is April. So they're 5 months behind.
Okay.
And they're upside down. Okay. So, and they haven't started the foreclosure process on it. So this one, yeah, I would go back over here and I would drop it down. Maybe see if you offer 35,000 for it, see what they say. All right. But this one might, if you buy it at 35 and you allow them to start making payments on time again, That's going to balloon, and they just start making the basic payment on it, and they can stay on time for that. Let's see, what do our numbers look like? Our numbers will balloon to a big whopping 32% cash and cash return. So that's one I might make it. I would, if I were you, I'd make an offer on that one and see what they say.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna email you this list back to you so you ain't got to try to figure it out on your own here in a second too. Okay. So I'm gonna highlight that one in green for sure. Okay. The rest are kind of minimal, but let's look at this one. This one that says 20% based on the
Now
payments.
for the one that's highlighted, so that wouldn't be a hip money thing. That's just
it could be if you bought it at 30, you bought it at 35. Forget the UPB, the value's not there. Value's 72. So that's $37,000 in value difference between what you pay for the note. So maybe you deed in lieu and then turn around and sell it at 72 to somebody as a cash buyer. You end up, if it's at 72, take away 10%, that's $7,000. So that leaves you with 65. 65 minus 35, that's $30,000. Pay your money partner. That's $25,000 in your Hip National Bank. That's not so bad. If it sells that way, of course, you have to look at due diligence. If you allow them to stay in the property and make payments, it's a pretty good yield too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as long as it makes sense, I mean, the photo doesn't look too bad. That would be one I would look at. Okay.
What's the P&I on that?
3, it was P&I payment on that one was 9 something, I think. Because it's at a higher interest rate. Yeah, 922. So let's do that number. So if you're borrowing 35,000, have you talked to any private investors yet about what? So let's just say they want 12% for a year. Okay. So is equal to that times.
Oh, goodness.
So basically, if you're, yeah, put it on silent, man.
Yeah.
You don't mind.
Because
you need to get you. It's okay. It happens. All right. So if you borrowed 35,000 from an investor to buy this deal to get them back on track, and you're paying them 12%, so that's $4,200 a year you're paying your investor to hold for the money, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, if they start making payments on time and they stick to the payment plan, they're bringing in 11,000 a year. So your profit would be what?
A whopping 6,000 and something.
Yeah, 6,800, 6,900, something like that, which
Yeah,
would be the 11,072 minus the 42. So let's just do this figure here. 11,072 is equal to that minus that 6,900 basically. And take some servicing costs out of this. So let's just say $6,000.
right.
Does that make sense versus 35,000? That's not a bad deal either way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If everything works out value wise, payoff wise, paper wise, remember we got to look at, I mean, the profit's great, but we got to understand that, doing the due diligence on the paper, the people, the property equals if those make sense, then the profits will make sense. You know what I mean? But those all 3 have to make sense for the 4th one to truly matter. Okay.
All right. Okay.
But that would be one to look at. It's in a major area there, so it'd be pretty easy to get somebody out to go take a look at that. If you want to make a lowball offer for the Corpus Christi one, I might know a guy down there
Okay.
who could drive by to tell you if it's in condition. But those would be probably the 2 deals. Maybe this last one, I don't know where Carrollton, Missouri is at. It's got a smaller balance on this one. They said the value's at 72. They only owe 32. They want 23. It might be to buy it would be a pretty decent ROI, but let's see what it looks like. 412 North Fogle Street in Carrollton, Missouri. We'll move on over here. Let's click on that. Let's just paste that in there. And this is what this one looks like. Best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Whoa, that doesn't look like it's very pretty.
Oh my goodness.
That's why they only want 23 for it.
Right.
Well, it might work if you wanted to buy a couple of houses and put together like a haunted house neighborhood there for a couple of days, you know. That's one way to monetize it, you know. That looks scary there, you know. I mean, this does not look occupied though, does it?
No, not at all.
No.
And then, I mean, right next door is,
Yeah, this whole caving in of the driveway here.
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a big no. 10-4 there, good buddy. All right.
Mhm.
So what part of what county is Hammond, Indiana in?
Lake County.
Lake County. Okay. Have you looked at see how many IRA investors are there yet, based off the class that you took?
No, no, I haven't. I haven't gotten to the investor class
Okay.
yet.
All right. So now what you got to do, okay, you need to take my advice. Before you do anything else, go watch everything. You got to watch it start to finish. I know it's easy to, hey, I want to start looking at deals,
Mhm.
but that's like trying to draw a caboose on a train that's not connected.
Mm.
You got to watch them all together, start to finish, because they all kind of go off of that. All right, so
Okay.
let's just do this real fast so you can have a bit of an idea. So if we're going to look at Indiana, and you're in what county?
Lake.
Lake County. Okay, so we go over to Lake County. Yeah, Lake County here. And let's look at the assessor's office. We'll just click on there. We'll type in Equity Trust because that's the largest self-directed IRA custodian out there. There are 90 records. Look at the people over here who have used their IRA to buy a piece of property. Let's see if it'll do any type of list. There you go, bud. There's the owner's name, Joseph Whitting, Richard Albert, James Campbell, Joseph Whitting, Joe Winning. Joe and Joseph, you might want to reach out to because they got a couple deals here. Joseph Whitting, he owns quite a bit of property in his IRA, so that would be a good investor to talk to, right there. If you
Is that
click,
the same person? He's just shortened Joseph.
yeah, well, Joseph Whitting's got a couple on here.
Okay.
Joseph Whitting, Joseph Whitting, Joseph Whitting. There's 3 or 4 right there. So if we click on this, let's see what the mailing address is, and I would mail him a postcard or letter. Hey, see how that you're using your IRA? Oh, I hate these things. It just takes a little bit of. Lake County is not the easiest thing. But if we look at this, let's see here. Can we blow this up a little bit? Yeah. So there is his mailing address. Ownership Equity Trust, Custodian FBO, Joseph Whitting, 923 Moore Street in Hammond, Indiana.
Wow.
He's in your backyard there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
How far is 923 Moore Street from where you live?
I have to Google that.
You got to Google it, but you better be Googling it fast. But that would be somebody to talk to. Mr. Whitting, hey, my name is Carl. You know, I saw that you use your IRA to buy a few properties here in town. Are you looking to fund more deals? You know, I'm in the non-performing note and distressed asset space, and we're looking for some funding partners. But go watch day 2. You need to go watch that from. If I'd have known you hadn't done that, we wouldn't have been on this call yet. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. They just go together. I know you're taking action, which I love about you, but you got to watch it all because they all connect, and one thing will connect to the next thing, and it'll actually answer questions about the due diligence and stuff like that by watching it all together. Okay.
I was kind of watching, like I watched 3 at a time, and now I'm going back and because I don't know, I kind of feel like I missed certain stuff, so I always go back a couple of times. Maybe I'm kind of studying them too much. I need to keep moving forward, but
go watch it all once and then go back. The way we structured it there with 21 different videos or whatever, like that allows you to go back and watch, but go watch it all start to finish.
okay.
That'll be the better thing. Then you can go back and then do more detailed stuff. But that's to be the best thing for you in taking the class, or like you signed up for it, and the class until November. You're gonna get more learning. I mean, in November, but the replays, obviously, you can go watch it, but go watch it start to finish to begin with. That's the best thing to do. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha. Yep.
All right, bud. Well, I will email back you this spreadsheet with that address, and then you've got some marching orders, and we'll go from there. All right, bud.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey, keep up the good work, Carl. Really proud of you. And then you're headed out of town for where are you headed again?
Japan. Not looking forward to the flight.
How long a flight is it going to be?
I think it's 14 hours.
Ooh, and how long are you going to be over there?
What is it? 10 days? Like, yeah, 10 days. I'll be back on the 15th.
Okay. And you got family, wife's family all from over there or what?
No, we're just visiting.
Well, have a great time, bud. Enjoy it. All right.
Thank you.
Good stuff, man. Good. Well, we'll talk to you later then. All right. Thanks so much, Carl.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Hey, real estate investors. So you want to dive into the world of note investing, but don't currently have the funds to sign up for an expensive class or a workshop or one-on-one coaching. Well, then you definitely want to check out the biggest bang for your buck in the note world, and that's our WCN membership. It get you an all-you-can-learn access to our class workshop replays, tapes, weekly coaching calls. For $97 a month, it's the biggest bang of the note industry because you get access weekly with me. You can book one-on-one phone calls with me. As we get different tapes in, we'll share them with our members after our one-on-one coaching students get access to us. We share a variety of tools, like I said, replays to the previous workshop, special discount codes to other events that you can take advantage of to help you get more bang out of your dollar every month. We've been investing in notes for over 20 years, and one of my biggest passions is helping note investors, big and small, get started buying notes. Yes, I got started years ago with no money, no savings, and no list. And I love helping people close on their first deal, get their first private funding partner to help them fund more deals and help them both make above average returns. If you're looking for somebody to help you take your note investing from 0 to 60 and want to get started, my WCN membership is a great place to get started. Like I said, we upload lists to it, video training, coaching calls for $97 a month. What can go wrong? The only thing we ask is you hang around for 6 months, and then if you don't like it, you can cancel. But check it out at noteumbrella.com. That's noteumbrella.com. That's our WCN membership. Get looking at assets today. Start putting your fingers on the trigger to pull the trigger on some note deals here before too long. Yes, anybody can buy notes. I don't care your age, your savings, what race, color, whatever it is. Note investing is all about what action you take, and the first action you should take is signing up for our monthly membership at $97 a month. That's noteumbrella.com. You can also access by going to weclosenotes.com and checking on the monthly membership. But we are here to help you. Scott Carson, the Note Guy. We look forward to seeing you at the top.